Yeah, peace. What's up? Lord bless to all those checking out this video. This is being taped live. Um, Once again, this is Brother Shum's Corner. Brother Shum's Corner, bringing you a nice topic, man. Bringing you a nice topic of the Bible. Bringing you a nice topic of the Bible. This is a basic breakdown of Genesis, man. Basic breakdown of Genesis, the first chapter. Now, a lot of I'm not going to go into a lot of complicated verses, but we want to understand, how did Genesis come into existence? Who wrote Genesis? So when you understand the Bible, the reason why it's called the Bible is because the first 5 books of the Bible is called the Torah. Okay, it was written by a Levite, by the tribe of Moses. But but how did he write Genesis if he was not dead? If Genesis was thousands of years, if the creation period was thousands of years before he was born into existence, well, how did he know all these different things? Where did he get that information from? Okay, well, number one, he dealt with the Savior and he dealt with the Most High. Okay, and the Most High is the one that showed him all these different things, all the creation period, the fall of man, the creation of man, dealing with Adam, people in the garden. The garden was in the land of what is today called Israel. Eden is the planet Earth, all these different things, the 5 rivers. The 5 rivers is no more than the Jordan River, which is the first great river, the Jordan River. Then you have the Nile, you have the Red Sea, you have the Suit, you have the Euphrates, and you have the Tigris River. Those are the 5 great rivers that is mentioned in Genesis, the 2nd chapter. Okay, that come from out of the one. So these are things that you got to understand. You got to, once again, you have to study. So let's get up into that. Like I said, the first 5 books that he wrote, Moses, this black man, was Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. But if you pick it up from Exodus, that's when he was born. So we want to break this stuff down so you could have a clarity as to, and you can be comforted, and you can have knowledge as to how things was written. Like I said, the first 5 books was called the Torah. And then the rest of the records of the prophets and the Psalms and stuff was called the Pentateuch and so forth like that. So if you go, so let's skip past Genesis first, right? Since he was not there. So I want you to understand that. So you got to go past Genesis and you have to go into Exodus. Right? So you have to stop and think about this when you're studying the Bible. You have to stop and think about this. If he was not dead, then when was he born, and how did he know? How did he know these records? Right? And so let's pick it up in Exodus, the 1st chapter. Now these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt. Every man in his household came with Jacob: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. Issachar, Zebulun, Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob was 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already. Now, so once again, you have to track maps and so forth like that. And when you track the maps, you will see that they walked into Egypt, all right? They walked into Egypt. So let's use this map right here. So if we're using this map, they're right here. This is the Saudi Arabia right here. This is Africa, right? So if you look at this part right here, the upper part right here, that's where Israel was. And we walked into Egypt. Right? So as you see, you have the Nile River running here, the Nile River running the lower Nile and the upper Nile, right? You got to break this stuff down. You have to study this stuff, right? So you have the Nile River breaking down. right? And let me just come down a little bit. Okay, so right here is where Israel was, the land of Israel. That's the Jordan River. Over here is the Tigris and the Euphrates running out there. This the Nile River, this the Red Sea, and the Jordan is coming out of there. So that's how the whole world was. Okay. So now we walked from the forefathers walked from out of here into the land of Israel. Okay, that shows you also that the so-called white man lied and said that he was the one that was in Egypt, because we walked into the land of Israel, and the second time we came back into bondage again is with ships. And it says, and Joseph died and all his brethren and all that generation. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceedingly mighty. And the land was filled with them. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. Okay, so king and Pharaoh and president is the same name. Okay, same name. Caesar also is the same name. Same title names for rulers. Okay, so just like we had a Pharaoh over us then, we have a Pharaoh over us now, Trump, and we got a new Pharaoh coming in, which is Biden. Okay, and he said unto his people, behold, the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on now, let us deal with them, lest they multiply and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join us also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. Now listen to this well. Israelites teach that we built the pyramids. Okay, Israelites teach that we built the pyramids. Listen to this well. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. So now when you look at the movie The Ten Commandments and so forth like that, you see Charlton Heston and them raising up these different things. But what you do not sit down to really see, like I had to go and see for myself, is that we did not build the pyramids. We built treasure cities, Pithom and Ramesses. Now, if you look where the pyramids is, if you do a true and complete study, I have a book here, a complete history of Egypt, with its religions, with its religions, with its pharaohs, with its what do you call those things? I forgot the name of the damn thing. Is right on my mind. So when you look at the triangle shaped what the hell is the name of the thing? Anyway, where they said that we built the pyramids. Wow, right on my mind. I tell you, I'm getting old. Right. So they said we built the pyramids. Right. So all of a sudden you're going to find out that we didn't build the pyramids. You're going to find out that we did not build the pyramids, because we built the treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. Now go and look up where Pithom and Ramses is, and you're going to see the pyramids, and you're going to see that Pithom and Ramses is nowhere near that region. Is nowhere near that region. Okay. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. So just like then, now, the more that they afflict us now, with all their drugs and the different diseases and the crack and all these different things, it doesn't bother us. It doesn't bother us. We're like roaches, you know what I'm saying? You kill one roach and here come another. We come right back. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. So just like then, we're serving now. Remember, we're in Exodus. We're breaking down where Moses came from, right? And how did he get to write Genesis? And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, just like in Egypt. Same thing now. Our lives is bitter with hard bondage, okay? Bitter with hard bondage in mortar and in brick and in all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor, okay? So, and the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the one was named Shipporah, and the name was other was Puah. And he said, when you do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be his son, then thou shalt kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives feared the Lord, and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men child alive. And the children of Egypt called, and the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto them, Why have you done this thing, and have saved the men children alive? And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, Because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women. Now listen to that well. This shows you that our women are different. Our women are beautiful. Okay? Look at it well. And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, Because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively. You know what it means, lively? You're beautiful, man. You're beautiful. Okay? You're beautiful. Right? For they are lively. Therefore the Lord dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. And it came to pass, because the midwives feared the Lord, that he made them houses. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, Every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive. Bang. So this is how you get into this story. And there was a man of the house of Levi that took a wife of the daughter of Levi. See, you know, as we grew into tribes and stuff, we didn't go back to mixing on the outside. We stuck amongst our own people. Okay, and you're supposed to love your people. You're supposed to love your people, man. You know, not start switching up. Let's go in the book of Tobit and prove that. Right? Let's go in the book of Tobit. Judith, Esther, Wisdom of Solomon. Let's go in the book of Tobit. All right, let's go into the book of Tobit. So our people have a real hatred of themselves now. You know, they like to switch out, cross into other lines and so forth like that. That means that they do not have a love for self, man. This is Tobit, the 4th chapter. That's why we Europeanize ourselves. We want to wear red here, blue here, this color here, orange here and stuff, straight here. Because you don't have a love for yourself, man. You want to make yourself into a beast mode. Okay? This is Tobit, the 4th chapter and the 12th verse. Beware of all whoredom, my son, and chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers, and take not a strange woman to wife, which is not of thy father's tribe. For we are the children of the prophets Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Remember, my son, that our fathers from the beginning, even that they all married wives of their own kindred. See that we stuck with our own, man. That you know, birds don't cross; they stick together. And we have a real hatred. You know, I deal with a lot of brothers and stuff like that in the gym, and you hear their thought process. They don't mind crossing and getting them a white woman or somebody from the outside and stuff like that. They don't have no problem with that. Okay? And our fathers from the beginning, even they all married wives of their own kindred, and were all blessed in their children, and their seed shall inherit the land. Now check this verse out. He says, Now therefore, my son, love thy brethren. See that? So if you not sticking with your people, you don't love your brethren. That's why all our people is all crossed up, mixed up. Okay? And despise not in thy heart thy brethren. So when you cross out, you despise. And this is what I said earlier, that we have a real hatred, you know, for ourselves and so forth like that. The color of my skin comes from a black man and a black woman. The color of my skin. Okay? Now, therefore, my son, love thy brethren, and despise not in thy heart thy brethren, the sons and daughters of thy people. Listen to this well. In not taking a wife, okay, of them. So when you go outside, you despise your people. When you go outside, you despise your people by you taking a wife of another race. That's what you're doing. So you despise yourself. For in pride is destruction, and much trouble, and in lewdness is decay, and much want. For lewdness is the mother of famine. Let's further prove that. Let's further prove that, right? Let's go in the book of Ecclesiasticus, right? Let's go in the book of Ecclesiasticus. Check out what the Lord said right here. Ecclesiasticus, the 13th chapter and the 15th verse. This is why you should stick together with your own people, man. This is why you should stick together with your own people. Every beast loveth his like. Every beast loveth his like. You don't see lions crossing lines and sleeping with other creatures. You don't see birds crossing with other birds. No, every beast loveth his like, and every man loveth his neighbor. But check this out. We always talk about interracial relationships because of love. That's not biblical. That's not biblical. It says all flesh consorted according to kind. So when you consort according to kind now, you sticking with people that is of your culture, of your race, with the same understanding, with the same language, same thought process. You're bringing your people back into existence. So when you sleep with a Chinese man and Chinese man, when a black woman sleep with a Chinese man and a black man sleep with a Chinese woman, you're not bringing your people back. When you sleep with a white woman, you're bringing in confusion. That's why he said that. All flesh consorted according to kind, and a man will cleave to his like. See that? Then he goes, well, what fellowship have the wolf with the lamb? So you're the lions, you're the great people. What fellowship do you have with them for? How you sleep with them? So the sinner with the godly. What agreement is there between the hyena and the dog? That's what the Lord is talking to you about. You understand? That's what the Lord is talking to you about. What fellowship do you have with people, not in hatred, but when you lay with them, you're losing yourself. And people say, well, it's because of love. That's not what the scripture is saying. That's not what the scripture is saying. You understand? So coming back now, that's why Moses was dropping that. There was a man of the house of Levi, Exodus the 2nd chapter, that took to wife a daughter of the Levi. And the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And when she could no longer hide him, she took for him an ark, which is like a tub of bulrushes, grass and stuff, and daubed it with slime and pitch, right, so that it became leak-proof, and put the child therein, and she laid it in the flags by the river brink. And his sisters stood afar off to wit what could be done to him. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the riverside. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it. And when she had opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the babe wept. And she had compassion on him and said, this is one of the Hebrews' children. Okay, so let's be clear here. When you look at the movie The 10 Commandments coming Easter, the first parts and stuff like that with Charlton Heston, with the child coming out, okay, with the child coming out and so forth like that, that's true. They took that from the scriptures. Okay, they took that from the scriptures. Okay. Excuse me 1 minute. They took that.
This is Brother Shum's Corner. Brother Shum's Corner. Bringing you a nice topic, man.
They took that from the scriptures. So you have to pay attention to that. All right? You have to pay attention to that. So you going back to the Bible, you want to take the movie and go back to Exodus, and you're seeing how they went up into the scriptures and took these things from the scriptures and so forth like that. That's exactly what it is that they did. Right? Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, shall I go and call thee a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee? And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, go. And the maid went and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's mother said unto her, take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee wages. And the woman took the child and nursed it. All right? So this is when Moses was born. This is Exodus the 2nd chapter, right? And the child grew, and she brought him into Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she called his name Moses, and she said, because I drew him out of the water. So the word Moses, names back then, not like my name, my government name. Back then our names had meanings to them, right? So here it is that he's born now, and he's living amongst the Egyptians, and he's brought up. So a lot of Israelites want to fight with you and say, well, this and this. And yes, Moses was taught by the Egyptians, okay? He was taught by the Egyptians. How do we know that? Let's go up in the book of Acts. Let's go up in the book of Acts to see that he was taught by the Egyptians. Right. and he saw Christ. Bear with me 1 second. Okay. Let's go in the book of Acts now. Let's see that Moses was taught of the Egyptians. Right? Now, Stephen is a prophet. The spiritual power is on Stephen, another great brother that we killed and we murdered. Okay. So I love reading about Stephen because I see myself as Stephen in many different ways. I am truly sad that I murdered that brother, man. I murdered him, you know. When I read about it and I see myself in these scriptures. Then said the high priest, are these things so? And he said, men, brethren and fathers, hearken. The glory of our father appeared unto Father Abraham when he was in Mesopotamia, because he dwelt in Haran. And unto him, and said unto him, get thee out of the country, and from thy kindred, and came into the land which I shall show thee. Then he came out of the land of the Chaldeans and dealt in Haran. So where you see the CH is just take off the C, it's Haran. Okay, and dealt, and from thence when his father was dead, he removed him into this land wherein you now dwell. And he gave him none inheritance in it, no, not so much as to set his foot on. Yet he promised him that he would give it to him for a possession, and to his seed after him, when he had no child. And the Lord spake on this wise, that his seed should sojourn in a strange land, talking about the prophecy that was given to Father Abraham to the children of Israel. And that they should bring them into bondage and entreat them evil for 400 years. And the nation to whom they were being bondage will I judge, said the Lord. And after that they shall come forth and serve me in this place. So now, here is another thing. Israelites took this verse in 2019 and try to say, well, this verse is talking about that we are in bondage now in 2019, 400 years, and this prophecy, we were supposed to come up out of this land. Just like we was told the prophecy of the year 2000, that God was going to come back in the year 2000 and, do what he do and take us back into the land. That was the year 2000 prophecy. And then we was given this 2019 prophecy, which turned out to be a lie, that men jumping the scriptures and stuff. This prophecy was for then. It's not prophecy for now. Okay. And he gave him the covenant of circumcision, of which Abraham begat Isaac, and circumcised him the 8th day, and Isaac begat Jacob, and Jacob begat the 12 patriarchs. That's where the fathers of the 12 tribes was born. And the patriarchs moved with envy and sold Joseph into Egypt. But the Lord was with him and delivered him out of all his afflictions, and gave him favor and wisdom in the sight of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And he made him governor over Egypt and over all his house. Now there came a famine over all the land of Egypt and Canaan, and great affliction, and our fathers found no sustenance. But when Jacob heard that there was corn in Egypt, he sent our fathers out first. And the second time Joseph was made known to his brethren, and Joseph's kindred was made known unto Pharaoh. Then went Joseph and called his father Jacob to him, and all the kindred 75 souls. So Jacob went down into Egypt and died, he and our fathers, and were carried over into Shechem, and laid in the sepulchre that Abraham bought with a sum of money, and the sons of Emor, the father of Shechem. But when the time of the promise drew nigh, which the Lord had sworn to Father Abraham, the people grew and multiplied in Egypt, till another king arose, which knew not Joseph. The same dealt subtly with our kindred, and evil entreated our fathers, so that they cast out our young children, to the end that they might not live. In which time Moses was born. See, this black man of the tribe of Levi. Remember, we're talking about Genesis. How did he know Genesis if he was not back there in the creation period? In which time Moses was born, and was exceedingly feared, and nourished up in his father's house 3 months. And he was cast out. Pharaoh's daughter took him up, and nourished him for her own son. So now here is a Hebrew child being brought into a Hamitic black African set of people, because the Egyptians are Hamitic. Okay, we're not the same people. We are Shemitic. If you are Israelite, you are of the Shemitic line. Then there's the Hamitic line of the Ham, and then there's the Japhetic line. 3 different sets of people. And Moses, listen to this well, before the Lord took him, and Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians. See that? Because he was brought up in Pharaoh's house. Okay? So that's why I have a book here called the Egyptian Book of the Dead, because these Kemetan people try to say, well, Moses learned. Matter of fact, let me show you that right quick. These Kemetan people, now listen to this well. See this book? The Egyptian Book of the Dead, or the Book of Coming In of Day and Night. Okay? The Book of Coming In of Day and Night. So when you deal with Egyptology or Egypt philosophy, they study, like the black people, that's Kemetans or whatever, they want to call themselves. They deal with this book. So they try to say, well, the Egyptians were more ancient and they knew more than us, right? And to some degree, the Egyptians are more ancient than the Israelites. Actuality, when you really understand the Bible, all the nations were more ancient because they came into existence after the flood, before us. We as a nation didn't come into existence and as a kingdom until the time of David. You understand? We didn't come into kingdom. The white man had kingdoms before us upon the earth. Okay? So you really got to understand the history. So now, they try to use this book to say, okay, but I validate with them that Moses did learn from the Egyptians. I validate that. I'm in agreement with that. Why? Because the Bible validates it. And Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians and was mighty in words and deeds. See that? So now they try to use this book to say that Moses wrote the 10 Commandments from off the walls of Egypt. Okay? But where did Moses get this stuff from? Where did Moses get this stuff from? Right? Let's further see. Let's further see now. 23rd verse, Acts the 7th chapter and the 21st verse. And when he was full 40 years old, it came unto his heart to visit his brethren, the children of Israel. And seeing one of them suffer wrong, he defended him and avenged him, that this was oppressed and smote the Egyptian. And when he supposed his brethren would have understood how that the Lord by his hand would deliver them, but they understood not. See that? Just like now. Just like now. You understand? Our people don't believe. They don't believe. And the next day he showed himself unto them as they strove, and would have set them at one and one again, saying, Sirs, you are brethren. Why do you wrong one another? So the same thing then is the same thing going on now. The same thing then is the same thing going on now. But he that did his neighbor wrong, trust him away. And that's what we do. Who may be a ruler and a judge over us? We don't want to listen. We don't want to listen. No, yo, you can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. That's why a lot of times I don't bother. I don't bother. Because I had to learn from this book the nature of myself and the nature of the people that I'm dealing with. So they said, Will thou kill me as thou didst the Egyptian yesterday? Then fled Moses at this same, and was a stranger in the land of Midian, where he begat 2 sons. And when 40 years was expired, there appeared to him in the wilderness of the Mount Sinai an angel of the Lord in a flame of fire in a bush. Now that angel of the Lord is Christ. Okay? Christ came to him in the bush. So remember Hebrews 10 verse 7. And lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me to do the will of the Father. So Christ was the angel that came down. Christ was the angel. Now, I know you're going to say, how do I know that Christ was the angel? Come on. Come on. You know, I do this. I do this. Okay? I do this. When Moses saw it, he wondered at the sight, and as he drew near to behold, the voice of the Lord came unto him, saying, I am the power of thy fathers, the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the power of Jacob. Then Moses trembled and dared not behold. Then said the Lord to him, put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place wherein thou standest is holy ground. See that? And I have seen the affliction of my people which is in Egypt, and I have heard their groaning, and I'm now come to deliver them, and now I will send thee into Egypt. Okay, so now he saw Christ, right? He saw the angel, right? Let me just read that to you. Just read that to you. Man, this is good stuff. Okay, I'm going to start at 34. And I have seen the affliction of my people which is in Egypt, and I've heard their groaning. This Moses whom they have refused, saying, who made thee ruler and a judge? That was our first king also. That was the first king of Israel, Moses, and there's scriptures to validate that. This Moses whom they refused, saying, who made thee a judge and a ruler? The same did the Lord send to be a ruler and a deliverer by the hand of the angel which appeared to him in the bush. And he brought them out after that he showed signs and wonders in the land of Egypt and in the Red Sea in the wilderness 40 years. This is that Moses which said unto the children of Israel, a prophet shall the Lord your power raise up unto you of your brethren like unto me. Him shall ye hear. So Moses was prophesying of the coming of Christ. That's the book of Deuteronomy, the 19th chapter, the 18th chapter, the 19th verse or something like that. He was already laying down the law of the coming of Christ. Okay. This is he that in the church, the first time the word church was used in the Old Testament, meaning Israel. Okay. The church means the body of people. It's talking about Israel. There is no church, no building standing nowhere that you can go to. So these are the lies that you put down and you believe because you're not studying the Bible. You're not studying the Bible. Okay, this is he that is in the church in the wilderness with the angel which spake with him in Mount Sinai with our fathers. So the word church means a gathering. The gathering was the nation of Israel, who received the lively oracles to give unto us, to whom our fathers would not obey. See that? We didn't obey then and we don't obey now. But trust him from them and in their hearts and turn back again to Egypt. Now I'm doing a topic, I'm highlighting this topic right here. Why is it that we voted for Donald Trump? Because we sincerely believed in Egypt. See that? We love America. We love Pharaoh. We love the so-called white man. That's why we love getting with Miss Ann and all that type of stuff. We love this place. You know, we love the hamburgers. We don't believe in the Lord, to whom our fathers would not obey. See, we disobedient. Okay? But trust them from them and in their hearts. See, in your mind, you turn back to Egypt. So you like this good old American way. You like this good old American way. You understand? You're supposed to use this place. Yeah, use it. But now you're supposed to be looking to get the hell out. You're supposed to be looking to get the hell out. and saying unto Aaron, make us gods to go before us. For as for this Moses which brought us out of the land of Egypt, we know not what is become of him. And they made a calf in those days and offered sacrifice unto idols and rejoiced in the work of their hands. The Lord turned and gave them up to worship the host of heaven, as it is written in the book of the prophets. O ye house of Israel, have ye offered unto me slain beasts and sacrifices for the space of 40 years in the wilderness? See that's what we did. Yet you took up the tabernacle of Moloch and the star of your god Remphan, figures which you made to worship them, and I will carry you away beyond Babylon. Our fathers had the tabernacle of witness in the wilderness, and as he had pointed, speaking unto Moses, that he should make it according to the fashion as in which he had seen, which also our fathers which had brought in with Jesus into the possession of the Gentiles, whom the Lord drave out before the faces of our fathers unto the days of David, who found favor before the Lord, and desired to find a tabernacle for the house of the Lord. But Solomon built him a house. Okay? Howbeit that the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hand, as say the prophets. So now you go into all these different churches and stuff, and you see your people and your mother and all these things going to all these different churches. The Lord ain't dealing with that. The Lord not dealing with that. You go into your Roman Catholic church, your Methodist church, your Seventh-day Adventist church, all these different churches. Look what he says again. Howbeit the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands. Okay, he don't dwell there. As say the prophets, heaven is my throne and earth is my footstool. What house will you build me, saith the Lord, or what is the place of my rest? Have not my hand made all these things? The Lord built all of this. The Lord built all of this. The Lord built all of this. What can we give him? Where is it? You know, what building can we give? He's built his own building. Okay. So let me further move on. I want to show you that he saw Christ, right? I want to show you. I'm going to show you that he saw Christ. Acts is a very great book. Let me close on this, right? So now we're going into the Apocrypha, so you want to know how, and this is just part one, once again. This is 2nd Ezra, the 14th chapter. So how did Moses write Genesis? Well, this is how it happened. 2nd Ezra, the 14th chapter. So now the Lord is talking to Ezra. Ezra is Esdras, E-S-D-R-A-S. So if you take off the S, you in the Bible it's E-Z-R-A. Same person. Okay. And it came to pass upon the 3rd day that I sat under the oak, and behold, there came a voice out of the bush over against me, and said, Esdras, Esdras, or Ezra, Ezra. And I said, Here I am, Lord, and I stood upon my feet. Then he said unto me, In the bush I did manifestly reveal myself unto Moses, and talked with him when my people served in Egypt. See that? And I sent him and led my people out of Egypt, and brought him up out of the mount of Sinai, where I held him by me a long season. See that? So now, the people never knew about Genesis and all this. They never had that. Okay? They never had that. Moses hadn't finished the Torah, which was scrolls. There was no such thing as paper and a Bible and stuff like that. There were scrolls that they would open up, that the people would read from, papyrus and stuff like that. So he hadn't finished that. So he hadn't started Genesis, because the Lord is now going to hold him. And I sent him and led my people up out of Egypt. So when he brought us up out of Egypt now he's going to bring Moses up to Mount Sinai, where I held him by me a long season. And I told him many wondrous things. So now he's going to break down creation and show them the secrets of the times and the end. So now he's going to show them past, present, and the future, right? saying, these words shalt thou declare, and these words shalt thou hide. And now I say unto thee, thou shalt lay up in thy heart the signs that I've showed, and the dreams that thou hast seen, and the interpretations that thou hast heard. For thou shalt be taken away from all, and from henceforth thou shalt remain with my son, and with such as be like thee until the times be ended. For the world of lost is youth, and the times begin to wax old. See that? So that's how Moses now was able to know the completion of Genesis. Okay, now he lived through Exodus into Leviticus because he living through that, so he's able to write that. The laws that was given to him was given to him by the angels. The angels would come down now. Christ and them would come down on what was called the Ark of the Covenant, and there he would go in and he would talk with the angel as he bowed down. You understand? So that's how he got the laws and so forth like that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to stop right here. So tomorrow I'm going to go and break down now Genesis from the first chapter. I'm going to go back into the names. I'm going to do the names of Christ, right? So it's going to be a two-part thing, 2 different videos, Lord bless. I'm going to do the names of Christ. And that's going to be a small video. And then I'm going to start breaking down Genesis, the first chapter, complete. So with that, I say peace.